What's up, fam? This is your boy ELJEFE, and I am here to do something a little bit different today on this channel. So today, I'm here to tell you about the 5 things that I like and the 5 things that I dislike about the TCL 10 Pro. Now, if you're interested in checking out the TCL 10 Pro for yourself, I'll go ahead and leave links down in the description box down below so you can check out this device for yourself. Now, before we go any further, and for full disclosure, because I like having honesty and transparency with my viewers, TCL did reach out to me. They sent over this phone for my honest opinion and review. And if this is your first time here and you're not familiar with the way that I do things on this channel, whether I go out and buy the products myself or if a company sends them over to me for review, I'm always going to keep it 100% real with you and let you know whether or not it's worth your hard-earned money. So with all that said, sit back and relax, hit that subscribe button one time, and let's jump right into this. So let's get into the very first thing that I like about this device, and that is going to be the gorgeous display. So this thing has a 6.47 inch full HD AMOLED display, and it is absolutely beautiful. It is HDR10 certified, so if you're watching some HDR content on YouTube or even watching videos like on Netflix and things like that, it looks so good. The colors are punchy and vibrant, everything is nice and bright, so everything looks really good. Whether you're just watching video or even if you're doing some lightweight gaming, everything looks super nice. And not only that, it also features an always on display, which is a feature that I really do enjoy, and I miss not having it on my iPhone 11. Now, as far as this one goes, it gives you a bunch of different clock options. For me personally, I like the red night clock. It looks really good. And not only that, they also have a very trick notification light that I like. So basically, it isn't like an LED light that glows when a notification comes in. It is a light ring that goes all the way around the edge of the display, and to me, it looks super trick. Now, as far as the things that I don't like about this display, for me personally, it's gonna be the curved edges. Now, for some people, that looks really good. For consuming content, it looks really good. But for me personally, I actually prefer a flat display. Call me old-fashioned, but I'm one of those people that ends up having accidental touches or ghost touches, whatever you want to call it. So like if I'm trying to text people, do anything like that, the fat pad on my hand will actually end up dialing different numbers or different letters when I'm trying to type stuff. So that's one of the problems that comes up on phones with curved displays. I had this exact same issue with my Galaxy S10 Plus. So for me, that's a bit of a gripe. That's something I don't like, and I figured I would share it with you. Now, number 2 on my list of the things that I like, it's gonna be that battery and the battery life. Now, this phone's packing a 4,500 milliamp hour battery. It also features Quick Charge 3.0, so you can recharge this phone very quickly, and it includes the fast charger in the box. So kudos to TCL for that. It also has the on-the-go or OTG charging function where you can use this phone as a power bank to charge other devices. And I had the opportunity to actually charge one of my true wireless earbud sets, and it worked like a charm. It's also featuring USB Type-C, just like many modern phones in 2020, so overall they've got you covered as far as that goes. Battery life on this thing has been exceptional. Going from fully drained to recharging it, I got 50% worth of that battery back right around 36 minutes. So overall, that quick charging is legit. And then as far as battery life goes, I can get somewhere about a day to a day and a half out of this phone, no problems whatsoever. As far as watching videos and things like that, I think I was watching Netflix for around 2.5 hours, and I only drained something like 31% of the battery out of this thing. So I was very surprised to see how well this has performed so far. Now, the only gripe that I have with this battery is the fact that it doesn't have wireless charging on board. Now, I know concessions had to be made for the price point of this phone, so it is understandable, but it is something that I personally like to use. I have a Nomad base station on my desk that I like to use, wireless chargers all around the apartment, so it's one of those things that is a convenience thing that I like to have, and it just isn't there. So it's something that I do have to point out. If you're one of those people that likes to use wireless charging, it isn't here. But the fact that it isn't here is understandable. So now let's move on to number 3. So now the third thing that I like about this phone is going to be in the audio department. So let's talk about that. First and foremost, this phone has a headphone jack. So we're not talking about an LG quad DAC type of headphone jack, but it still gets the job done very well, especially for media consumption. So if you're going to run just like your regular earbuds or some nice in-ear monitors even, or even just a basic set of wired headphones, they're going to totally have you covered. And the audio that comes out of it is actually very good. Now, the other part of the audio that I like is the fact that these feature Super Bluetooth. So when I thought of Super Bluetooth, I'm like, what are they talking about here? it actually gives you the ability to pair up to 4 devices at the same time, whether headphones or speakers. So you do have that option on board. Now, some of my previous phones gave me the ability to pair up to 2 devices, but never 4. And this actually works pretty well. Now, my drawback on the audio and the thing I don't like about it is going to be the single speaker, which in and of itself normally wouldn't be a bad thing, but this speaker just sounds hollow, it sounds a bit tinny, and just thin. It doesn't have a full body to it, so that's kind of one of the things that I didn't like. You know, coming from like an iPhone 11 or even a Pixel 4 or even my Pixel 3a, the speakers on those sounded much, much better, much more full sound, much richer. So it is something that I immediately noticed when I was watching video. Now the speaker gets very loud, for sure it gets loud, high volume, but just the overall sound of it, it's just not there, and it's just not that good. Now, for the 4th thing that I like about this phone, it's going to be the camera and the camera array. But now this is kind of a double-edged sword, but let's talk about it. So for me, first and foremost, the main thing that popped out to me was the super macro camera on this camera array. So I like to take pictures of small things. Now I know that sounds kind of funny, but I have a Lego collection. I like taking pictures of my minifigures, and not only that, I also do a lot of true wireless earbud videos and earbud videos. So being able to get nice, sharp, accurate pictures with that macro cam comes in super, super handy. And as you can see, the detail's very good, colors come in very good. So I was truly impressed, especially considering that this is pre-production software. So as far as the macro or super macro, it's worked out pretty well, at least in my opinion. Some of the other camera modes that I did like as well are the high pixel, which is the 64 megapixel. So that comes in pretty good, and it allows you to really punch in on a shot after you've taken it without losing a bunch of the detail. Now, as far as video is concerned, you can shoot in 720, you can shoot in 1080, and you can shoot in 4K. In my personal opinion, the 1080p seemed to have worked out with the best results, at least in my personal opinion so far. You can definitely shoot some videos with it. There are better cameras out on the market, so overall it is acceptable, but it's not the best out there. Now, let's talk about the other side of this with this camera. So it's got some issues. Now, like I said before, like I prefaced it, this is pre-production software, so I believe there is some room for improvement here. But as far as like the selfie cam goes, everything is way too soft. So it's almost like a beauty filter or something is going on with it where it isn't getting sharpness and detail of my face. Now, it gets a little bit better if you do the selfie shot with high megapixel, but beyond that, it's just too soft, especially if you're coming from whether it be a Pixel 3a or a Pixel 4 or even like an iPhone 11 or an iPhone 10R, you know, you're gonna notice those differences immediately. And then also, when I'm outside or outdoors trying to take any sort of a selfie shot, everything was just getting blown out in the background. It was just, everything was overly brightened. Like it couldn't handle any sort of direct sunlight on me whatsoever. When it was cloudy, it worked a little bit better. I'll show you a picture right here. But in the sunlight, it just wasn't working out. And in that portrait mode, it's still having some weird issues with edge detection around my head. So it's definitely some things that do need to be worked on here. Now, the reason I say that it's a software thing, at least I believe it's a software thing, because I have a lot of friends who are much deeper into the camera game and the mobile camera stuff, and they've done a Gcam port on this phone. And the pictures that they've been taking with that Gcam port have been phenomenal. So that leads me to believe that the hardware is on point, but it's just some sort of software optimization that needs to happen to really take the cameras on the TCL 10 Pro to the next level. So hopefully this is something that TCL is going to be working on here, and we should be seeing improvements hopefully in the near future. But so far, those are some of the downsides of this camera. Now, last but not least on this list, let's talk about the number 5, and that's going to be the TCL UI, the actual software itself. Now, this is a very clean and simple build of Android, and so far I am highly enjoying it. Now, I'm someone who comes from stock Android. I've been using a Pixel 4 XL as my Android device, and it isn't a jarring experience making that move over to the TCL UI. Everything is very clean, everything is very simple, there isn't a bunch of bloat, and there isn't a bunch of stuff in the menus to kind of make things confusing. So far, so good. One of the main things that I like about it are the convenience features that they've added to this device. So integrated right into it is that smart key, and it's a physical key on the side of the phone that is fully programmable. Single, double press, and long press, and you can program each of those functions to do a specific thing, from activating the cameras to snapping pictures to activating apps or turning on the light. Whatever you want it to do, it's a huge menu of options, and it's fully programmable and very, very convenient. The other part is the fingerprint sensor. That's a bit of a double-edged sword, but if you long press the fingerprint sensor, it will actually pop up a 4-way menu that is also programmable, where you could pick out 4 different things that you can choose from. Another convenience feature that I do personally like. And then third, there's also a slide out menu on the side where you can add your favorite apps, you can add your favorite contacts, and there is a built-in ruler, which caught me by surprise, but it's still a cool thing to see. Now, as of the making of this video, we are still running on pre-production software on this phone, but TCL has already committed to giving us software and security updates all the way up to Android 11. Hopefully they'll continue it after that, but so far that's what we've got. So now let's talk about the negative side of it. So as I had said before about TCL UI, that camera software definitely needs work. Now, I already talked about this, but this is one of those things that I do have to add into this because it is part of the operating system. So it is something that needs a little bit of work. Now, secondly, there was some issues with that fingerprint sensor. Now, it works fairly well most of the time. It isn't the fastest out there, but it normally works very, very well. But there has been a couple of times where I'll go ahead and put my thumb on it and it'll just read and read and read and read, and it will not unlock the phone. I'll have to lift my finger off, place it back on there again, and then it'll pick up. So it happened on a few occasions. It doesn't happen all the time, and it has got better over time, but it's just one of those things that, you know, I would have to include here because it's one of the very few glitches that I've seen with this phone so far. So with all of that said about this phone, would I recommend you go out and pick up the TCL 10 Pro? For me personally, absolutely. This is a great device for the type of usage that I do. So basically, if you're just gonna be surfing the web, you're gonna be watching videos, you're gonna do some light gaming, basically just doing your social media stuff, Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter, and all of that sort of stuff, answering emails, this is a great device for that sort of stuff. Coming in at $450, I think the price is just right on this phone. Are there phones that are cheaper that have better features? Of course. There are also phones that are much more expensive that don't do as good as this phone does. So I think it's priced right in the right spot for the market at this time, at least in my personal opinion. Now, personally, I'm going to be keeping my SIM in this phone at least for the foreseeable future, so I can wait and see if any new software updates come down the line or anything new comes up with this phone. And that way I can also do a follow-up in a few months to see how things are going with this device. So with all that said, if you have any questions, comments, concerns, any of that sort of stuff, go ahead and leave those down in the comment section. I'll be getting back to you as soon as I can. And if you haven't done so already, consider hitting that subscribe button along with that small notification bell, and this way you never miss any of my upcoming videos. So with all that said, I just want to say thank you for checking out this video. Thank you for giving me the opportunity to tell you about the TCL 10 Pro. I hope you have an awesome week. Stay safe, stay home if you can, wash your hands, stay healthy, and I'll see you in the next video. Peace.